So thank you very much for coming for this class. In this class, we're going to continue about the research process and enhancement of this process, which require that we formulate a research problem. And this means that in order to formulate a good research problem, we need first to actually see the problem from different, let's say, perspectives or from different angles. And this requires that first is that we, for example, see it from personal experience, or we see it from the perspective of a theory, or even we might have a research problem that is relevant to, developed relevant to the observations that we've seen, or it is because of the, let's say, the contemporary issues that was developed over the years or over the time when we collected the data or we started the research of a certain problem. Also, when we engage with the literature, because our engagement with the literature will help us to see how the research, different papers, different books, different projects has been carried out, and you know how the problem was formulated, and how we can, let's say, milk or thrive or take some of the previous studies or research into our research. Now, what is the research problem? We know that the research problem is whenever we looking for studying some difficulty in a certain issue, whether it's relevant to, again, theoretical or a practical situation. Now, usually this means that we need to obtain a solution for a specific issue that we are looking for. Now, research problem is undertaken for study must be also carefully selected. So it means that first we need to have a proper, let's say, connection with the specific points in the research. Also, we need to study whether we are looking for our own to answer our own queries, or it's also the overall queries of those stakeholders or concerned with the problem. So always it is said that well-crafted questions guide the systematic planning of a research. The more we put proper research questions, the more we gonna have a proper research. So we should have a lot of questions, and then we start to integrate them together and formulate these questions precisely to enable us to design a study with a good guidance or a good, again, chance for answering our queries. Now, a problem statement usually comes after we select the general problem, or we define the area we are going to work on the research, which means that we have to delimit the task we are working on, and then isolate it to a specific problem before we can proceed with active planning. And this type of decision is culminated in the problem statement. So, for example, in order to develop proper problem statements, we need to have to address three criteria. The first criteria is the relation between two or more variables of the problem. For example, the relation between age and whether they are female or male, or whether they are unemployed or they are employed, or retired or they are working people. The second thing is that it should be stated clearly and with no ambiguity, so that the people can answer it. And the third thing, or the researcher can answer it properly, especially when he addresses it in the discussion and the conclusion. And the third thing is it should be amendable to empirical testing. So it means it can be tested and retested again in the field. Now, the criteria for selecting a good research problem: first, we need to have the interest. So the researcher should really attempt to really, study this problem even before he addresses it in a literature review and so on. or he have this drive or passion. So it should, because it's going to involve hard work, and even maybe we cannot address the problem properly. So he should be also, let's say, resilient on this issue. And we should have the great interest to sustain the required motivation in a proper way. The second thing is that we should have the problem manageable, or the thing that is under study, it is manageable, and the magnitude is, let's say, it is moderate, so it's not too large to be addressed in a specific time, because every research have a specific time or a mandate, whether it's 6 months, 3 months, or 1 year, and so on. So this means that we need some time to narrow the topic. Even though we are interested to address the big question, we need to narrow the question or the topic we are working on. And then we should also do a measurement of concept, which means that we make sure that we are clear about the indicators and measurement of concept if used in our study. So we do not use, for example, in our research, concept that is we are not sure that it can be measured. The fourth level is about level of expertise. So we need to make sure that our research have adequate level of expertise, or we have adequate level of also ourselves, and or we have colleagues that is going to help us in this research. If we're going to write about food industry, or about SDGs, or about poverty, or unemployment, or youth, or women, or we're going to do lab also, because the research is, as we said earlier, in inspiration economy is relevant to labs. We need to have some knowledge of a certain area, whether it's about the community we are studying, or whether it's about the issue we are tackling, and so on. And this means that this will help us to really, again, be more knowledgeable about the area we are working on. The fifth criteria for a good research is the relevance. So it should help in bridging gaps. It shall help to formulate proper policy. It should help us also to sustain our interest in the study. And the sixth part is about availability of criteria, which means before finalizing the topic, we make sure that data are available. And of course, we should have ethical issues, like, for example, we should ensure that the ethical issues are well addressed in the research. For example, not to uncover a certain, let's say, data that's supposed to be confidential, or it's the people did not give a consent for it. And this, of course, will help us to address a problem similar to, for example, creating less poverty in a specific humanitarian NGOs. I think I will leave this for the next class, because we're going to discuss this in detail later. Thank you very much.